to Enhanced Vision Optelec Ask the Expert series. And today we're joined by Simon Parsons from British Wireless for the Blind. Good morning, Simon.
Hello, Ed. Nice to talk to you.
Okay, so Simon, could we start by you telling the viewers a little bit about British Wireless for the Blind?
I can indeed, Ed. So British Wireless for the Blind Fund, we're a small independent charity operating throughout the United Kingdom, and we provide a range of specially adapted audio equipment which is designed specifically for people who are living with sight loss. And when we talk about special adaptations, we talk about things like colour contrast controls and tactile markings to make the equipment easy to use and navigate around. The fund itself started way back in 1928, and so what has been going for nearly just over 90 years now. And we think that during that time, the fund has provided over 1 million radios on free loan to people who meet the criteria. Yeah, extraordinary number. But as we continue on our journey, supporting people with sight loss, now we're into the 21st century. So yeah, we've come a long way.
Well, that's fantastic. And Simon, just explain to the viewers what is your specific role within the organisation?
Well, I am one of 3 regional development managers within the organisation, and part of my role is to be very thankful to be invited along to events like this to raise awareness of who we are and what we do, promote our services, and I also support our network of agents across the United Kingdom. Although we're a small independent charity, a small number of staff, but we're very reliant on our agents who install and deliver the equipment on our behalf. When I talk about an agent, it's usually the local voluntary association for the blind or the local sensory team, all organisations who are on a day-to-day basis interacting with our target market, those who are living with sight loss.
Oh, great. Well, that's very interesting. And Simon, tell me, who is a sort of candidate that would qualify? How does someone qualify for the services and support from British Wireless for the Blind? What's the criteria? That's
a very, very good question. As I say, small independent charity, and as much as we'd like to provide everybody who's living with sight loss with a piece of equipment, we just don't have the funding to do so. So our trustees have set a very small, modest criteria for an individual to have a piece of our equipment on a free loan basis. That criteria is that an individual needs to be living with a recognised sight loss condition and be in receipt of a means tested or an income related benefit. Now, if an individual meets that qualifying criteria, then we can have a discussion with them about which is the most suitable and appropriate piece of equipment for them. And then we will arrange to have that equipment delivered to the home with some instruction and show them how it's all set up, etc., etc. However, because of the pandemic, we've had to slightly tweak our service, and I know we're moving on to another portion, another area where how has the pandemic sort of become somewhat difficult with our services. However, we've tweaked the service because part of the personal service that we offer as a charity is that in the good old days, we would arrange for one of our agents or one of our volunteers to visit the individual in their home, set the equipment up, show them how it all works. But of course, at the moment, we're not in a position to do that because of the pandemic, which thankfully we're coming towards the end of. So what we've been doing is we've been arranging for the equipment to be delivered directly to a recipient's home by a courier. Or each piece of our equipment does have an audio manual. And also in the box was our telephone number, so we could provide some telephone support as well if it was needed for the straightforward setup. And we also had a dedicated volunteer who was ringing every recipient once they'd got their delivery, just to make sure that they were getting the sort of best use of the equipment. Mm-hmm. And during the lockdown, since the lockdown some 15 months ago, it's something like 2,300 sets have gone out to recipients during that time. So we've been very fortunate to maintain our level of service, and that new part of the service, as we call the BWBF Connect service, where it's delivered by a courier, will now become embedded into our service delivery. So as we move out of the lockdown, we will be able to offer recipients either a personal visit to help with the setup, or we can arrange to have it couriered, and we can provide some telephone support. So we've grown, developed the service as a result.
So Simon, in essence, then, out of the pandemic, would you say that a more efficient way of doing things, a positive change has come out in the way that you deliver, something that perhaps wouldn't have been considered if we weren't forced to consider these options, and something good's come out of it going forward?
I put it better myself, exactly. Certainly a real positive step, something that we've identified that we can do as a result of the pandemic. We would, prior to the pandemic, as I say, part of the personal service that we offered as a charitable organisation would be that we would deliver. That personal visit was all part of the service. But the pandemic changed that we've found that a real positive, a real step forward has been the delivery by a courier, and we've provided telephone support. And we identify for many people they do have some sighted support, in their bubbles during the pandemic. So
fantastic.
Really has been good.
Simon, sorry, Simon. I was speaking. I didn't mean to speak over you there, but I just wanted to ask you. It's a two-part question, really. The first part is there ever any cost to your members? And the second part of that question is, if someone didn't qualify for your support by the modest, criteria that you apply, if they wanted to, if a visual blind person wanted to, could they purchase the service? Could they pay to have the service? If they didn't qualify and they wanted to pay,
they can. So let's answer the first part. So if an individual meets the charity's criteria, then they have the set on a free loan basis, and they have the set as long as they like. And if that should get damaged or broken, then we will arrange to replace it free of charge. And also, as newer models come onto the market, then if a recipient listening needs change, then again they can be considered for perhaps an upgrade or an improved set. On the other hand, if an individual doesn't meet our criteria, then you're quite right. And it's often they don't meet the criteria because they're not in receipt of an income-related benefit. Then our entire product range, and I always feel like the double glazing salesman, that our entire product range is available to purchase. And of course, if an individual is formally registered blind or partially sighted, then they don't actually pay the VAT element of our equipment.
Oh, well, that's fantastic. And the other question, sorry, going back slightly, relating to the pandemic, did you see the demand for your services increase extraordinarily during the pandemic? How did the demand for your services compare with pre-pandemic? Was there a spike, or did it drop down a bit?
I think it would be marginally less, but only by a very small proportion. Very small proportion.
Okay.
It didn't spike, but the beauty of it is that we've managed to maintain the service.
Exactly.
People, new recipients, or where we've had to issue replacement sets, they've got the set promptly and efficiently, and with some telephone support.
And just something that's just occurred to me, just in the essence of one of your devices, a British Wireless for the blind device. I should imagine that, and I'm only imagining, you'll have a better view of this than me, that someone who's blind and relies on communication with the world outside in an audio format might find it very difficult to operate a conventional radio. So these are specially adapted. Can you tell me a little bit about how they are easy for a blind person to use than a normal Roberts DAB radio? Yeah. Now,
so most people who lose their sight have some residual vision. Very few, nothing at all. Our equipment differs from the mainstream commercial equipment in so much as that if you purchase a mainstream piece of equipment, often it's all the same colour. And then when you push a button, you don't know what's happening. Ours differ in so much as that, as I say, the equipment, it has charcoal grey casing with very bright yellow contrasting buttons. So with a bit of residual vision, making the equipment easy to use and navigate around. The equipment also has some tactile markings as well, again, making it easy to use. And this is equipment that is designed specifically for people with sight loss. That's what we do. We provide specially adapted audio equipment to people who are living with sight loss. So our recipients, those who we seek to serve, are always at the forefront of our minds when we're looking at developing equipment.
Okay, that's fantastic. And I suppose the fact that now, you know, with the colour contrast part of the design and the tactile part of the design, plus the training and the support, those are the ingredients that make these things work for people in that situation.
Very much so.
And after the training, because some people of a certain age, and I think I might fit into that category myself. I'm not including you, Simon, but you know, right. They might forget things or be anxious that they're not doing things right. Can they get telephone support if they need it?
Yeah, exactly. If they need any further support, they can phone us. We're always happy to ensure. I mean, one of the things we're very keen to ensure is that people are getting the best use out of our service. And there is the audio equipment that comes with it, so that is a very user-friendly guide. But also there is support available if people of a certain age, shall we say, forget things or are a bit unsure. Then we're always happy, you know, to be on hand to ensure that they're getting the maximum and the best use out of our equipment. We hear from people how much that they really rely very much on their equipment. Nice letters and phone calls from people who say that, you know, their radio or their audio equipment is their lifeline to the outside world, where it sounds a bit easy, but the reality is for some people it is their best friend. And a lot of people who have been in lockdown because of the pandemic, that has been their radio. Our audio equipment has been their link to the outside world. We're talking to people now that have not been out for 12, 13, 14 months. Relied on their radio to keep them sane in some ways.
It's easy, I suppose, to take for us sighted people to take for granted. But if you think about being in that situation and you're not going out, and unless people are coming to visit you, it must have been a terrifically isolating experience for a lot of people. And the breakthrough of that communication with the outside world, far more vital and important for your mental health and for just feeling, you know, that you belong, you're part, you know what you've got, a window on the world, I should imagine.
Sure, absolutely. And with our equipment, with certain bits of equipment, and they have the tape cassettes, the CDs, or the USB players, and you know, if individuals are still getting talking books, and perhaps magazines and what have you, and I know some of the local talking newspapers were still producing, albeit on a small scale. But it was vitally important that those who had our equipment were able to listen to that world of entertainment, that news, the sport, etc., that they can listen to. They're not having struggled perhaps with the television. So, as you said earlier, they're gathering information in an audio format. So we know how valuable and vital the service is that we provide to those who are living.
And thank goodness for it. Now, I've got one more question. If there is anybody watching this channel, if there is anybody watching this channel who knows or has a family member or wants to get in touch with British Wireless for the Blind on behalf of, you know, a father, a mother, a relative, or a friend, how can you give a number? Do they contact the local society? What's the best way for them to get in touch?
Probably the best way. Well, two ways. One, if they want to have a look at our website, there's lots of information about our equipment there, and that is www.blind.org.uk. Or
repeat,
www.blind.org.uk. So that's one way. Our main head office number is probably the first point of contact for any inquiries. And that telephone number is 01622 754 757. I'll repeat that just again. 01622 754 757. And as you rightly said, if people listening to it may not be eligible or may have a piece of equipment on themselves, but if they know of somebody who may be eligible or who may be suitable, then please do get in touch with us, because we know that there are probably many people out there who are eligible but may not be aware of the service that we offer, being a small independent charity and having been in a lockdown. So if people do know of anybody, please pass that information on. Do get in touch with us at our website or at our main office number, and we'll be happy to help and support, because if you are eligible to have a piece of our equipment, it is free. I think I might have mentioned that before. It's the sales method. Equipment is free if you meet the criteria.
Fantastic. And look, my last question, if someone wished to support the charity, is there an easy way they can get in touch to help, offer or support in any way?
Indeed they can. Again, our main head office number, I'll repeat it for the third time, 0122 754 757. And again, my colleagues in our fundraising team would be more than happy to talk to people about making a donation or providing some form of support towards the fund. That would be very much appreciated. Thank you.
Well, thank you very, very much, Simon, for joining us here today on our humble Ask the Expert channel. I know of British Wireless for the Blind, but you've certainly told me a few things today that I didn't know, and it's made the whole picture clearer in my mind. So I'll certainly be mentioning your services to people that I come across that may benefit from them. So thanks very much, Simon. I wish you all the best. And I'd just like to say to the viewers, thanks for joining us today on our Ask the Expert. Easy for me to say, I know. Ask the Expert channel. And why don't you join us again soon for another upcoming Ask? I'm going to have to Ask the Expert. Okay, everybody. Nice to see you. Bye-bye for now.
Goodbye.